Hi everybody, how's it going? We are here with a timeless reading. The first card that we have out is Ace of Swords, and we also have 10 of Wands. We also have 2 of Swords. We have 4 of Wands. Okay. The most difficult part is the stress or overwhelm, the congestion that's connected with this. It feels like a lot of steps have to be taken or a lot of energy needs to be used, and that can feel like just a very large amount that needs to be exerted here with everything. Okay, this actually looks like things are coming together. For some of you, there can be somebody that you are connecting with. This can be a making up of sorts that's happening. If that was, in a way, not what was going on before. We have 4 of Wands above 3 of Cups. So what this can mean is that what was going on before is that you could have like not been in a great place with someone, and it could have felt disruptive to you, especially for like the basis of your life. For those of you that this is somebody that you live with or you're in close proximity to, or normally you would be, it can indicate that before maybe like something wasn't necessarily working before, there was an issue with the back and forth. Now it feels like there's some type of resolution that's happening. This can even mean like getting clearer on things. It can mean like finally we're getting on the same page and communicating with that Ace of Swords and 3 of Cups. But it can be something that takes a while actually to get to this conclusion. With Ace of Swords and 6 of Pentacles, this would be coming to a place where there's a sense of agreement about what is really fair within the dynamic. It can be about the expectations, it can be about the needs, whatever is going on that would allow this to be sustainable when that's happening, things feeling like there's nothing really left to do, there's nothing left to fix because it just works that way, and trying to get to that point where it actually feels like that. But it feels like there's, to get that 6 of Pentacles, which is going to be the exchange happening, having 10 of Wands be connected with it can mean that like being part of this feels really stressful. Being part of this relationship, being part of this situation, it's something that feels complicated, it feels stressful, sometimes it gets very foggy, sometimes it's very difficult to cut through that. It seems like the Ace of Swords is helping. So this can mean understanding my own values here and my needs and my expectations is going to help all of this, and it can be something that really gives some context to the situation. And maybe that's where the progress lies, is within recognizing where you stand with things and your own energy and what allows things to be sustainable, needing to understand that with yourself in order to communicate that and get through a complicated situation here. You can feel like you're still figuring out how to move through this. It feels like you may not have arrived at a conclusion yet. With that 6 of Pentacles, you can be like, is it compatible? Does it work? Does it not work? I'm still not sure yet with that 2 of Swords there. I don't know that yet. Is it going to be enough? Is it not going to be enough? I don't know that yet. It feels like this still hasn't fully been seen. This hasn't fully been recognized yet at this point. Like it hasn't been figured out yet is the feeling. At the same time, I feel like there can be a breakthrough within the communication, and it can even be within your understanding of this. And maybe even I'm seeing that this is what I need to do. I haven't done it yet, but I think that this might help us make some progress here. So even though it feels like a tense situation to be going through, not everything is squared away, at the same time, it feels like this is leading into a direction where there can be some type of agreement about where everybody stands. And this feels just like a common challenge of, if this is something that you want to keep around, if this is something that you want to keep solid, like a solid structure within your life, this relationship, this is the type of work that needs to be put in currently to hopefully get to a point of peace. In a way, it seems like that's possible. At the same time, it feels almost like the thought is, I don't know yet. Like, some stuff is still being figured out. But I think that this has to do, I don't get the feeling that this has to, you're looking at the situation and you're like, I understand it completely, I just don't know if this works. It feels like if you know totally what your values are, what your needs are, what your expectations are in this situation, what your like limitations are, what your boundaries are, what they are not, if you're knowing what that is, it feels like there's not going to be anything that really has to be figured out at that point. It feels like you having to decide this, and then everything else will fall into place. So rather than, it feels like from the bottom up addressing this, because if you do it from top down, it feels like trying to look at the whole thing and being like, I don't know if this works or not, without understanding the individual pieces. This feels like it's going to allow you to check into your side of things, and within that understanding of it, it's going to tell you reflectively whether what's going on the other side of things works, and whether those things work together or not. But you have to understand your own stuff first. So this can mean like this doesn't feel right, but I don't even really know what I'm expecting here, or I feel like I'm not getting what I need, but I don't really know what I need. It feels like one of those times where with this Ace of Swords, this is about figuring this out and thinking about this so you can really know if what's going on is appropriate for that, and get through a time that can feel like it really takes a lot of energy in order to figure this out. It can be something that feels like a lot of heavy lifting. Like, you can put a lot of concentrated effort into this. It feels like it's taking a lot of solar plexus energy to move through and to get to a place where things are making sense. With that Two of Swords and Five of Wands, it can be like still not totally sure about this, still trying to figure this out, but that this is the place to go in order to figure it out. Because at the end of the day, you're doing all of this so you can feel at peace with things. You're doing all of this so you can feel like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be. It's just figuring out how to get to that point, and these are the steps that need to be taken in order for that to happen. So rather than getting ahead of yourself here, you have to figure out what the Six of Pentacles is for you first, to then know the components. You know the components, and then you know how they work together or don't work together at that point. But it's going to help you see the bigger picture here. Because once you know what you need, what you want, what the expectations are, what's going to meet those requirements, you'll know whether or not something is sustainable. You'll know whether it's balanced. You know whether everyone has what they need or not. Because you'll know where you stand with this. And I feel like that's going to then clarify the rest of the situation for you. Feels like this is not a convenient thing to be happening, and it can feel inconvenient that this is happening. It can feel stressful. It can feel annoying that this is happening. It can feel confusing that this is going on, where you're like, everything still feels like it's up in the air and I just want it to feel settled, and it's not feeling settled right now. But I do feel like there is a breakthrough here with the Ace of Swords. A breakthrough in your understanding of this and how to approach it properly. And it can even be telling you what you weren't seeing before. And I think that if there was a, like, trying to look at the whole thing and understand it again without looking at like your pieces within this and your part in this specifically, that's where the break was, it feels, in understanding this totally. This is going to help you see, understanding your values in this, understanding your needs, understanding your expectations. This is the key to unlock this whole situation and to figure it out and be able to move forward. And to see it with new eyes as well. And it'll help you problem solve in a way that you hadn't been able to before. Feels like very eye-opening. Like your mind can just start seeing things that you weren't seeing before, and it's easier to work through this. I do feel like this takes a lot of energy, probably more than you're comfortable with spending, but you can feel like it's for a good reason though. So it can make it worth it to you because of that. And then figuring out, once you get there, what to do with this. But yeah, it feels like there's been a pause, there's been a delay in being able to really take action here, because there needed to be, you can't take action if you don't know what you're doing yet. So receptivity is needed to really look at what's going on within the situation. Once you've heard what's going on, then you can calculate what the next steps will be and then take action. But without that receptivity, you're going to be taking action and not really know if that's going to be effective in the situation or not. So it takes that balance of the masculine and the feminine energy. Otherwise, it feels like missing the point. Because ideally, you want everything to function in a way where it feels cohesive and it goes together. Like everything makes sense. You have these different pieces, and when they come together, it makes sense. And that is what you want here, rather than something that feels lopsided when it comes together. Like there's something that just like doesn't support itself. That's not what's wanted here. Okay, so this is very much in the process of being figured out. I'm not seeing this be an easy thing to move through. I am seeing you moving through it though. So it is getting done. There can still be this feeling of things being up in the air. Like you don't necessarily know the direction that things are going in, but you know what to do now and you know how to approach this. You don't know the end result, you don't know the conclusion, you know the steps to take, and then that's going to lead you to the conclusion. So you're going to find out soon enough what's going on here with this. I think some things are still being thought about. All in all, you can feel like your understanding of the way that things work energetically in the relationship is something that you've been gaining an understanding of going through this process. So yeah, I'm getting something about unfinished business. This is going to lead you to what you need to see. You take these steps and it will lead you to the natural conclusion of this, where you can see what the end result of this is. And you'll feel like you took the appropriate steps. It's about the process here rather than just focusing on the result. If you're doing the process in the right way, you will get that equal result coming out of this. If you're focused on the result, I think that's where we can get lost within the process of like not knowing how to get there. And it's a little bit of a backwards approach here. So this is focusing on the process, and then you will see what the result is going to be from that. With that being said, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.